All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming live from our Joburg office. Good morning and welcome back to the opening bell with myself, Tshepo and Ashley. And this is brought to you by TD Markets and TD Markets Academy every Mondays to Fridays at 9, streaming live on YouTube. All right. I hope all is well this morning. I hope you guys are doing well. All right. So we've got the cryptos this morning. We are looking at the cryptos this morning, doing updates on the crypto. And we are still watching for the current move. We're still keeping an eye on this current move that's towards the downside, right? We've got Bitcoin, we've got Ethereum, we've got Ripple. This will be an update of the previous analysis we did, I think on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So we are looking at the current bearish run that is happening. All right. The current bearish run that is happening. And this bearish run, of course, it will be interpreted in different ways. However, what I can tell you right now is if you have experience in crypto, right, particularly in Bitcoin, you've traded it before, since it became popular in 2016, 2017, all right, around that time, you will notice that what's happening right now, it's not something new. Let me repeat this, right? If you've been active on Bitcoin, right, since 2016, 2017, you'll notice that what is happening right now is nothing new. It is part of the Bitcoin cycle, right? Because Bitcoin being the leading cryptocurrency, of course, right? So crypto is a different ball game, right? It's unlike your FX, and this is something that FX traders need to understand. All right, crypto, it's all about the rotation of funds. That's why we have things such as wallets. FX doesn't have a wallet. Crypto has a wallet, right? That's why we've got things such as your blockchain, a public ledger where we can publicly see transactions, right? So FX doesn't have a blockchain, right? You get my point. So we're looking at this different beast, which is a crypto, and then as a trader, right? What you're trying to do is to understand the cycles that Bitcoin has, because Bitcoin is the number one crypto with a large market cap compared to the other coins. All right. So when Bitcoin is affected, the total crypto market cap gets affected as well, right? At the moment, this is the bearish run we see. It's a part of the cycle, Bitcoin cycle. But what happens and what has happened is historically, whenever Bitcoin has dropped by 70% or more, it has always bounced back to reach new all-time highs, right? And so far, that record is 100% perfect, right? Whenever we see dips like this, these are prime buying opportunities, all right? That's why I mentioned some time ago that institutions are not looking to capitalize on the bearish run. Although we are seeing whales moving and rotating capital around, we're seeing one side of the whales obviously taking advantage of these movements, and then the other side continue to look for buying opportunities. And that brings us to the liquidation, right, of positions. In early November, earlier this month, the total liquidation of positions have exceeded 1.1 billion. All right. And that is as a result of, various factors. All right. We have the upcoming FOMC meeting minutes in December, where the odds of the rate cut has dropped to 45%. Right. A couple of weeks ago, it was public. Okay, not public, but it was known that after the first or the previous rate cut, right, sentiment was that the Fed is going to aggressively cut rates, and the next upcoming FOMC meeting, they're going to cut rates. But as it is right now, the odds of that happening has dropped, right? And then you look at the risks from the US government shutdown that has delayed economic data indicators. So all of those things obviously have added to what we see happening right now. So this bearish run is seen as a micro-driven correction, right? It's just a micro-driven correction, not particularly a reversal. So that is basically what's happening on top of what's happening on the crypto, right? Just try to summarize it for everyone. So let's go to the charts. Now, previously we spoke about Bitcoin heading back to this low. It has passed this low. It has slipped below 90,000. So now it's headed back to this low, right? Not this low, but the structure, $87,000. That's where Bitcoin is headed. Should it break below this, it's most likely headed back down to this one. But at the moment, we are watching for Bitcoin reaching that low. And then we'll come back and see what's going to happen after that. You look at Ethereum. Ethereum, the last time we spoke about this, we said it's coming back down to this low. It has broken below it. So now we're anticipating it to come back to this low now, right? Around $2,800. And then Ripple, we said it was going to go down, all right? And it's approaching this low that we spoke about the last time. There was a possibility that this can still go back up, but we said for as long as it doesn't break above the zone, right? For as long as it doesn't break above the zone, it's more likely going to continue. This would have been a perfect short opportunity on this. So Ripple is coming back down to this low, and then we'll see what's going to happen on this low, all right? But over and above everything here, guys, what we see in the crypto is nothing new. And I would encourage every one of us in this session to go back and study how Bitcoin has moved since it really became popular in 2016, because that was the time, 2016, 2017, that was around the time where people started taking notice of Bitcoin, and there were questions: what is Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin? Right? So I want you guys to go back and really do your research on the cycles of Bitcoin that has formed, right? What we see right now is nothing new, right? Just like, and what's funny is that every time this happens, there's a bit of uncertainty amongst market participants, a bit of uncertainty. But if you know how Bitcoin has moved, I'm not saying it cannot change, but if you know how Bitcoin has moved, you will notice that this is just a part of the Bitcoin cycle. Because remember, crypto, it doesn't have a centralized authority. Crypto is decentralized. It's unlike your fiat currencies where they've got a central bank backing that currency. Crypto, it runs on a network of computers, right? And then you've got your miners, right? What you call Bitcoin miners. You've got not the wallets, but the blockchains where we can see the transactions, right, publicly. But yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but this is what we're seeing at the moment, all right? So ladies and gentlemen, from the fundamentals and the technicals of crypto, this is what we're seeing at the moment. So Bitcoin, we're anticipating it to still push a little bit lower. Now remember, we are still bullish on Bitcoin. We are still bullish, right? These movements towards the downside, I'm not saying they are, for me personally, I'm not saying they are trading opportunities. I'm just keeping an eye on this move to see at what point it is likely going to complete, right? But I'm still sticking to this. Even if Bitcoin comes back down here, I'm still sticking to this, all right? Remember what I said, dips like this presents a good opportunity. All right, so this is how things are looking, guys, on the crypto this morning. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned. And let's continue following these movements. There's a lot you're going to learn from these movements, and that's going to develop you even further as a trader. All right, it's going to develop you even further as a trader. But just go back to the historical price of Bitcoin and see every time you've got crashes like this, right? Let me go to the monthly time frame and show you. During this time, right, I hope you guys remember this. This was in early 2017, late 2016, early 2017. You see this crash here, right? What's happening right now is exactly what happened here, where, I was there around this time, and I can tell you that there was a lot of uncertainty. People were uncomfortable. Bitcoin holders were uncomfortable and all of that. And see what happened. It went up, right? Now, the same thing happened again here. This was early 2021, late 2020, early 2021. Look at this crash. People thought, it's over with Bitcoin. It's over. And then what happened? It went up. Now we're seeing the very same thing again. It's just how Bitcoin moves, unfortunately, right? So what we're then going to look at now is a few Fibonacci levels to see where we could potentially land. And now we're looking at that 87,000 as the price going back to, because there's a Fib level there, right? So yeah, let's follow this. Let's see what's going to happen. And yeah, let's see how we can take advantage of this. But we remain bullish on this one. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it from us. That is your crypto overview, nice and simple. Hope everyone enjoyed. Have a good day, and I'll catch you guys back on the trading room later today at 2 p.m. live on YouTube. Cheers, everyone.